It's going to come down, Kieran, to a convergence of belief and the candidate. And I think Chris is correct. If the Democrats nominate someone really hard left who can't generate broad enthusiasm within the party, then that is going to put a ceiling on the vote, on the turnout, where people just might say, well, I really don't like Trump. I'm not comfortable with my Democratic nominee, so maybe I don't vote. What Democrats are trying to capitalize on right now is, yes, there's huge anger on the Republican base. Well, there is huge anger among the Democrats. And that's why that 50% approval rating for Trump is so important, because if he has over 50% approval with a base that solid, well, that is a formidable candidate going in for re-election. But if he stays stuck and Democrats are highly motivated and they coalesce, well, you have to think that they're going to do well, just as they did in electing moderate Democrats to take over the House a year ago. I see the Republican has vanished. I think he took his vote back, so it looks like a, a clean sweep.
Might have been it might have been a technical error in the
digital. An errant digit went somewhere.
There you go. Much excitement.
We know which finger it might have been, but there you go. Okay.
Ah, there we go. And then the Republicans have gone back up. They've sorted that out. Someone in the Congress digital area is getting the sack as we speak.
That's right.
Now, of course, we haven't been through this territory before either, Kieran and Bruce, and that is it is going into an election year. The impeachment trial will happen in an election year. Bill Clinton, of course, was impeached in his second term. So there's a whole different dynamic about it. Would he have paid a higher price if his Republican opponents were more interested in knocking him out in an election contest? Was the electorate less engaged in his reputation, given he was finishing his second term? But we're going to have a president here going in for re-election at the end of his first term, with the impeachment hanging over him and fresh out of the impeachment trial in the Senate, Bruce.
Well, it's what is really remarkable, given that Trump is such an unconventional president, is how the party has coalesced around him, and there are just there's no defectors, or if they are, they're clearly on the outside. And I think the question, Chris and Kieran, if Trump is reelected, a second-term Trump would be quite an important political development, and so that would mean that Trumpism is the successor to Reaganism. And that is a profound shift in the party, and will have lasting effects on the contours of American democracy.
There are so many parallels between Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump, and I know a lot of people don't like that comparison, but Bruce, there are so many parallels. I mean, Reagan was so violently mocked by the media political class and the left generally, and he was such a strong leader, was accused of being too strong and abrasive, particularly in international affairs, yet delivered through that strength. Now, Trump is an altogether less palatable human being in his own character, but there are those similarities, don't you think?
Yes. One thing, Kieran, shortly the screen will go back to the floor and the vote will be formally announced by the Speaker and the Chair. Yes, I think, Chris, I think what you're saying is correct, and we'll just have to see whether how Trump can truly capitalize on this situation.
But just on that, Kieran, we're talking about how he was a Republican outsider, obviously, in the last election, and there was a lot of talk during the campaign about how the Republican establishment wasn't particularly strongly behind Trump, and therefore a lot of the Republican machinery, perhaps, on the ground there to help with the turnout. So you just wonder, given, as Bruce said, the Republican establishment has coalesced behind him, given his success, they've ended up with their man in the White House, whether that will impact on the ground later next year, whether there will be more buy-in from local Republican establishment and therefore lead to a greater turnout for him.
It could be.